Some think you always have an angel and a devil. Spidey, in the meantime's got a symbiote on his shoulder. Here's a look at the Hasbro Marvel Spider-Man VenomVersus Deluxe Spider-Man. Kids can imagine unleashing Venomized web-slinging adventures and battles with their favorite Spider-Man heroes and villains. I think when he was looking at his paint and asked for a second coat, that's not really what he had in mind. Still, though, before we get everything dressed up on Spider-Man, let's take the tape measure, shall we, and see how tall the VenomVersus Deluxe Spider-Man stands. This guy was selling for the same price as the winged Venom that we've already had a look at. There was also a Miles Morales version of Spider-Man that had some green symbiote strands. I didn't actually find that one at the time that I shopped for this guy. Still, if I do get the chance to find that Miles Morales, of course I will be picking him up, and ... Of course, a review of that will be finding its way onto this channel. Backing up, though, just a bit, Spider-Man's going to stand at 3 3/4 of an inch in height. That's going to translate, though, to a figure that's 9.5 centimeters tall. You could really make the valid argument that the black-suited Spider-Man technically is a different body because it didn't have any webbing sculpted into the plastic. Based then on that, you would make no argument that that's the same body really as the classic Spider-Man, except for one notable change. The one that's in the middle actually is doing something that the ones on either side can't say that they can do. He actually does have gripping hands. 2 gripping hands for that matter, where both Spider-Mans on either side actually had a web-slinging hand and a gripping hand on the other. He has to have 2 in order to accommodate the symbiote strands that he's going to have for weapons. The figure, though, also in the middle is going to be more than the ones on either side. Both figures on either side sell for $14.99. The one in the middle, because it has more of an elaborate armor, sells more for closer to the $25 price. It's a little bit more expensive, but you can see where the plastic budget went into. He isn't also the same price as the basic Venom, because the basic Venom would have been selling for that $14. However, though, he is the exact same price as the Venom that sports his wings. So I know this is going to be a hard sell. You're basically taking a figure that's $14, you're tacking on some extra plastic, and then you're charging about $10 more. Stay with me. We'll kind of look at the armor, and you guys can decide for yourselves. First, Spider-Man has all this extra armor that goes over top of his body. So first, he gets a torso piece. Now, this is a pretty soft plastic, so you don't have to worry at all about taking Spider-Man's head off first before this goes over top of his torso. It's got a very familiar Spider-Man symbol on the front that's actually been sculpted in. I think what's really neat, though, is that if you look on the tops of his shoulders, doesn't it actually look like it's Spidey hands or symbiote hands that are kind of reaching around the top, looking like they just want to envelop Spider-Man's entire body? I think that's kind of really cool. There is also a peg on the back of the body that accommodates a Venom head, or the closest thing to a Venom head. This is actually a little more of a harder plastic, although it's got still a little bit of give to it. If you look at this, though, there's a rectangle built into the plastic that you basically just take this and snap it onto the torso, just like that. This makes things a little bit easier, though, once you actually get this on Spider-Man's body. It stays on well enough. It doesn't stay on really good if you're playing with this. If you kind of move Spider-Man around, you kind of will find this falling off frequently. Spidey's little joined sidekick here, you can see there's Venom's face. It has no posability at all. It does have a tongue sticking out. It's really weird, though, that they chose to sculpt it the way that they did, because it looks like Venom's biting down on his tongue. Why would they have done that? Because if you normally look at Venom, anytime he has his tongue sticking out, it's because his mouth is open. The moment you close his mouth like this, why would they have just chosen to have the tongue left off altogether? I think that's kind of stupid. I think also for the budget, though, of what went into this, asking collectors to spend the $10 more, I think it would have been interesting had they found a way to incorporate some head articulation where you can move this back and forth, and if they had left the tongue off. If it was around that same size as this Venom here, it could have given you the opportunity to untab this one from the peg and replace it with the body here for Venom. So if you want to use this head sculpt instead of this one, I know this one's a little bit smaller, but it's just weird, though, that it looks like he's biting down on his tongue. The tongue, by the way, is a softer plastic. But basically what you're going to do, though, is you're going to take the existing body for Spider-Man, you're going to take the torso piece, just fit it over top like that, and then you take yourself Venom's neck and snap it onto the back of his body. So that gives you this look to Spidey. Then you get all these, well, I say all these, you get these 2 extra arm pieces. I just dropped my Spider-Man. Let's pick that up right now. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's right over there. You get also these symbiote strand weapons. Kind of looks like they're daggers. I think that they would have worked a little bit better had they been this way. The way that they attach onto Spider-Man's arm, now I've retrieved the figure, is that this little loop has to clip around his hands. So you clip it around like that. Get it all on there. Why is it having such a hard time? It's just because I dropped Spider-Man. Get his hand around that, and then you just clamp this onto his forearm. Granted, though, it's not the easiest thing to do, but clip this basically around his arm. I was having an easier time doing this earlier. Clip this around with his hand, and then clip that basically onto his arm. Let's see if we fare better on this side here. So again, you just kind of open up his palm just a little bit. Get that. There we go. Get it around the loop like that, and then snap it onto his arm like that. So basically, Spider-Man has these long little appendages that stick out from his forearm. I mean, they don't connect at all. It really would have been nice if they had found a way to, so it looks like it's a continuation from his shoulder. By also the way that they've sculpted it, I really would like to find a way to attach it the opposite way. I mean, it really isn't going to work, but I think that these look a little neater because it actually looks like he's doing the devil horns. Could this not have been a way that they could flip this around? Because I know you're kind of probably also looking at this, and I guess technically too, you could take the hand and fit this around the handle that way, but then there's really nothing that it's going to sit against unless you just kind of tuck it along the shoulder like that. Does that look worse? Does that look better? I know it probably looks a little worse. I actually just think it looks a little neater, though, if they had found a way to sculpt it this way, so it doesn't look like he's just kind of carrying around. It really does look like he's got himself a pair of, like, symbiote crutches, and Spider-Man has to kind of walk away from safety. Anyways, let's go ahead and just kind of remove everything for right now. We'll have to come back to this in a second. I did want to show you guys that this is basically using the same body as the Spider-Man from before, so we're just going to take all the armor off here. So if we bring in the original Spider-Man, to look at really the two molds, I would be hard-pressed to say that really one is that much different from the other. Like the symbiote, the spider symbol on the back is exactly the same. The coloring of the plastic maybe is just a little bit of a darker red. Actually, the blue, too, is really a much darker blue than the lighter blue. And he also has a different symbol on the front. Now, this symbol was only really printed in, so it makes things a lot easier that they could just print any symbol really that they want. This is a much easier looking spider. This would be the kind of spider you'd want to make friends with. This is a kind of spider, though, I'd want to stay clear of. In fact, actually, I found a spider that looked like this, although it was about the size of my thumb, inside my laundry room a couple of days ago. This thing was giant. I would like to have said that I would have trapped the spider and let it go on its merry little way outside. It didn't really end up happening that way. I feel like the spider lunged towards me, so I had to do the only thing I could have done. I just stepped on the spider. Am I jinxing I know they say spiders bring good luck. A spider of this size, I don't think it's bringing any good luck to your house. The thing that's kind of cool, though, is that Spider-Man's eyes look like he's got his spider senses tingling. So it makes things a little bit different from one to the other. So I know, like, you can clearly look at the two figures and know that they're the exact same. With a little bit of cosmetic changes, though, this one feels like it's a brand new looking Spider-Man, even though, again, I know it's the exact same body. Because it is, though, the exact same body, he's also going to retain the same levels of posability. This Spider-Man does have a ball joint in his head, so it moves freely up and down. You can turn really the head all the way around. These arms also, because, again, it's using the same body, give you a T-pose option. You can take the arms and rotate them all the way around. Figure does have a bend in the elbow, so it allows the forearm to rotate back and forth. Some sacrifices, though, have to be made. There's no swiveling, for example, in the hands. There's nothing you can swivel at all for the waist, but I don't feel like a figure for this price, even though really it's $10 more. I don't really think he necessarily needs to have those. He does have at least, though, a hinge joint in his legs, so you can split the legs and do a Van Damme splits. You can take them and move them forward and move them back. A little bit of a swivel at the top of the thigh, not much, though. Single hinge in the knee, lower leg rotation, and no articulation at all in the ankles. He does still have peg holes in the bottoms of his feet, so it would be probably a good idea to make use of a display stand. These figures at all don't come included with any stands, but if you had yourself a stand, like a McFarlane Toys stand, you could just basically attach that onto the bottom of his feet. So I pose the question to you, viewing audience. Do you feel like a figure like this is worth the price that they're selling him for? Keeping in mind, again, like he's essentially just using the same body as the classic Spider-Man, which was selling for $14. he was selling the same price as the black symbiote suit Spider-Man because I got somewhat of the same body. And really, he's also selling for the same price as the basic Venom, which if you were looking at the budget, I think they spent probably just as much plastic to mold Venom as they did for Spider-Man's all his weapons. Now, like with all these figures, they're kind of marketing them as the deluxe figures, so because of that, they tack on the extra costs. I mean, this Venom, at least you could make the valid argument because he has the larger wings. He's already a big figure to start off with. Spending $24 for him makes some sense. Does spending that same amount on this Spider-Man for really what little we actually get for that? I don't know. It's a little more of an uphill battle, I feel, to market a figure like this, especially when you have a peg space right above it. So essentially, when you're walking into a Walmart where I found these, the Deluxe Venom and the Deluxe Spider-Man were sitting on the shelves. And then the pegs just above it, you had the Spider-Man selling for $10 less. To look at this figure, to then look at this figure and see that they're exactly the same, having all these extra things, as cool as they may be, I don't really feel it justifies the price difference that they do. I do actually like that this head sculpt is an extra piece that attaches onto the back of the armor. Still, though, it perplexes me why Hasbro decided to have his mouth closed when his tongue is sticking out the way that it is. Oh, it looks like Peter and Brock are having a difference of opinions. I'm sure there will be a difference of opinions when it comes to what the value should be for a figure of this size. When you're really looking at a figure like this on the shelf and know that it's selling for $24.99, and then looking at a Spider-Man that's exactly the same above it for it's selling for down $10 less, does it really then look at this and you just think to yourself that Hasbro is gouging the prices when a price for this figure should have been a little bit closer to $14? I don't think he should have been $14 because he's getting a little bit more plastic to his build, but I don't think he should have been $24 either. Meaning somewhere in the middle, let's say $20. I think this line should have been broken up into 3 size classes. Your basic figures could have been selling for $14. Figures that had elaborate armor like this could have been selling for $19, and then you get a larger figure like Venom could have then been selling for $24. I don't think this guy should have been in the same price bracket as the Venom because he's definitely not worth it. What do you guys though think of the Deluxe Spider-Man? Let me know down below in the comment section. Enough of an added plastic that he's worth the price he's being asking for? Or do you think that Hasbro's charging way too much for him? If you guys did also enjoy this video, you can do it a solid and throw it a like. You guys want to stick around for more so? I hope so. We're kind of wrapping up things right now, sad to say, for VenomVersus. But there will be more videos coming your way, so making sure you're coming back to this channel. As always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.